subsidizing the insurance companies is not the answer because it just drives the cost up even further. So we need to look at the root causes. The Republican Party is the party that is working on that, has been working on it, and has more ideas going forward. We got to bring down the costs, and you can do that in a responsible way that also increases access and quality of care. And we got notebooks full of ideas on how to do that. We got to build consensus around it.
Do you think he considered saying binders full of ideas and thought, nah, it's too on the nose? I want to plausibly pretend to have ideas that I definitely don't. So it's notebooks, I guess. Oh yeah, it's just filled with all sorts of great ideas. And I bet they were talking to doctors and experts and community activists and all that. I bet they're doing all of that stuff. No, Mike Johnson, he's in trouble and you can sort of see it there. He's even more squirmy than usual. They don't have a plan. It's a disaster waiting to explode in a situation that is already really bad for them going into the midterms. And what is he supposed to do? Their only actual plan, notebooks aside, is let the poors die. And by the way, lots of people are concerned about these ACA subsidies going away and that jacking up the cost of health insurance. And you saw right there, he was like, we can't just deal with like the cost right now. We need to go to root causes. Sure, you could come up with some root cause solutions, which you haven't after like a decade of Donald Trump. But right now, the price is about to explode. So don't brush that aside, particularly when you get great healthcare subsidized by the taxpayer and your constituents don't get that same privilege. In any event, he's trying to portray some strength and shaking on camera right there. Lots of Republicans, especially in the Senate, are getting more and more worried about the lack of a plan. And they're saying that they have to do something or these midterms are gonna be absolutely devastating. So in the short term, what they seem to be doing is this week, there's gonna be a vote on extending the ACA subsidies for 3 years. If that happens, then kind of the Democrats, I guess, got what they wanted out of the shutdown, perhaps, assuming that it actually passes in the House too, which very much remains to be seen. Of course, that also sort of kicks the can down the road. It's not a permanent solution, and it allows for 3 years up until Trump is gone from office for the Republicans to pretend to be doing something. So I would certainly want more. Republicans are implying that they're trying to message their way out of this. Roger Marshall, Republican senator of Kansas, says, America is ready to see what Republicans are for. If we don't have a good economy next November, and we don't have the American dream start to be restored, we're gonna lose. Marshall is a physician, and he's gonna introduce the Marshall Plan Act, which you just know he's been waiting to brand any bill he tries to pass as the Marshall Plan. I'm sure it's gonna be great. That would extend the ACA subsidies for 1 year, transparently just getting us past the midterms. That's all it's about. And then we can have the same fight again after he gets reelected, I guess. They say they want to take aim at healthcare fraud. I would say the insurance industry is the fraud they should be focusing more on. Introduce price transparency in healthcare, which I don't have a problem with, and eventually transition to health savings accounts, which of course is their answer for literally everything. Don't ask us to do anything. Don't ask the government to make healthcare affordable and accessible like virtually every other advanced nation on earth has done it. We're just gonna let you put money in the stock market or whatever, which conveniently is great for us and jacks up the price of these companies, which is really all that we want. And if you can't save enough, which you definitely won't be able to, it's all on you. We won't owe you anything. You won't have any expectation that the government is involved. It's all on your own private investments. And so when you're broke and you can't afford treatment, you should have been more responsible. This is like a wet dream for Republicans on the solution to the problem. Jayar, what do you think?
I don't know why people don't confront them more about this savings plan when we're seeing a destructive economy. We're seeing people with less money. We're seeing prices go up. We're seeing job losses and lack of new hires, all that stuff. How does that relate to someone having enough money to save? To do what again? Have money set aside to then give to the same insurance companies that they're saying we should stop feeding? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Maybe I misread it, John. So if I have, because some weird read of what they figure for the health savings accounts, I'm sorry. That's my understanding of that simplistic ass plan. But when your plan is to just let people die, and your strategy is to just wait for them to die, you have to lie long enough and you have to extend. That's what you're seeing, all this stuff. How come people aren't pissed off at these guys about trying to extend Obamacare subsidies for a year? That was the big problem, right? Because what was supposed to be discussed was fixing that whole thing that, of course, Republicans sabotaged in the first place to make sure it was even worse than what it was many actual progressives wanted. out of a healthcare plan during Obama's term. So they made sure it was worse so that they can then complain about it and then still do nothing further. But they're falling behind a president whose job is chaos, destruction, murder, death, and self-aggrandizing, and then expecting everyone else to fix it for him. That's always been who he is. He screws things up, and then all these guys are supposed to come up with some kind of excuse for long enough for him to stay in power. So if we make it to the midterms and we still haven't found a way to kick all these guys out or make sure that they have absolutely zero credibility for everything that they talk about, it's kind of blaming ourselves. They're telling us they don't care. They're showing us that they don't give a damn about any of this. They just keep saying the same things. How long have they been talking about this health savings plan? And then Mike Johnson with the binders full of ideas. Nobody's got them. They don't care. So we're supposed to save money, even though we're paying all this in taxes. I thought this was a conservative fiscal party that wants to lower your tax rate. None of it makes any sense, John.
They've been talking about it since George W., probably even earlier. That's it. They don't actually care. They care only enough to perhaps save their seat. We had some video we were gonna play that really demonstrates that. We unfortunately don't have time, but you can see in the way they're all squirming, these Republicans, particularly in swing states and swing districts, how much of a problem they have on their hands.